Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar today. My name is Diana and our presenter is Ron Golish, our voice and video specialist. He will be doing the presentation for you. A quick note, if you have any questions, please type them to me and I will send them over to Ron and he will answer them as they come through and he has pauses in the presentation. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. I wanted to go through, there's a lot of things to go through here, and we'll go through them fairly quickly. If you do have questions, feel free to ask them at any time. You don't need to save them up till the end. This topic and the range of things we're talking about is so broad that it's probably better to ask the questions up front as you see them. What we're going to be talking about today is how things are uniting both with voice and video in collaboration. UC means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it's worth talking about in a format that is a collaborative format. We're going to cover both voice and video options from Polycom, integration with Microsoft. We're going to go through some basic exercises on what it saves you, depending on your travel costs and travel times are. I know that as of today, gas is down to $3.35 a gallon, so that's good news. There are some break-even points that show when gas is in the $3.75 to $4 range, everybody starts looking at videos. So you may have signed up for this webinar before the gas prices went down, but bear in mind, the gas prices are going back up. There are a lot of customer reasons that drive changes to UC platforms and also reasons to look at specific things and specific types of technology. One of the biggest problems, of course, is that unified communications is a product that needs to work across multi-vendors. And quite frankly, it isn't that way. Everybody's jumped on the UC bandwagon, and so in some cases you're finding every single vendor, be it ShoreTel, Mitel, Avaya, Cisco, Polycom, Microsoft, all started to bring out their own UC products, and their UC products tend to not necessarily work completely or only work a little bit with each other. So we're in a point where people want to implement UC, but unless you're looking for something or work with something that really works across multiple platforms, you're kind of going to be buying things that may not work next month. In addition to that, a lot of people implemented pieces of the UC portion of their business, things that they needed to have work unified, but now find that those things won't work with the newer standards. And part of the problem, as you see in video and in audio, is that the standards and the standards that apply to these sorts of things are typically written by the IEEE or other standards-based agencies. So sometimes they take things into account that some of the vendors don't, or the vendors rush things out to get things done, and then they don't work simply because they are different than what you had before. So Polycom really has a platform set that goes across all the various pieces that you're going to find for UC, be it endpoints, applications, services, and then platform functions, as you'll see. For instance, on the left-hand side, they start with IM and presence, call control, web conferencing, video collaboration, mobility, social media and social function, and other apps. And these are going to all be bridged, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one of these. So again, if you have any questions on any one of these things, we don't necessarily dive into depth on any one of these products. There are just too many of them. We're going to give you a general overview of all of them. One of the hot topics that you may want to ask questions about are, of course, integration with social media and how it works with social media like LinkedIn and Twitter and some of the others. Well, one of the biggest differences and biggest holdbacks for video unified communications or video conferencing has, of course, been the bandwidth involved. 10 years ago, if you tried to do a high definition or what was then proposed as a high definition video call between locations, one 720p or 1080p, you were probably talking 10 to 15 megabytes of bandwidth necessary between locations. And just so you know, if you're not familiar with it, the various types of video bandwidth are starting with the current or old standard for TVs, non-high def TVs, was basically what's called the 480p standard, 480 lines of resolution on the screen. Current high def standards specify from 720 up to 1080. And if you're confused about some of the standards, you should rightfully be so. A 720p is a progressive scan interface. A 720i is an interlaced. The things to know are the higher the number, the larger the number, the better the quality. The P is better than the I, so progressive scan is going to have a higher video resolution than the interlaced video. And then if you go to the frames per second, the higher frames per second, the better. So after these numbers you see on screen here, 720p, 720p 60, 1080p 30, that's 720 lines of resolution, progressive scan, 30 frames per second. The human eye interprets 24 frames a second as full motion video. The higher the speed of refresh, or the number of frames per second, the better the picture quality, especially from a standpoint of movement. As you can see here with the H.264 profile, the H.264 is one of those standards I was talking about that just showed up. It came out. Most of the manufacturers started working with it. Some have adopted it, some of it haven't. This is not a Polycom standard. This is an IEEE standard. It is a codec, or it's a method of compressing the data and how the data is compressed specification. So the H.264 high-def profile really was out there to make high-def possible and transmission of it possible. As you can see, one thing it's done is decrease the amount of bandwidth drastically. A 1080p, 30 frame per second video conferencing call currently will only run at 1 megabit per second. This is the same baseline technology that Blu-ray uses, other high-def broadcasts, even though whether you are aware of it or not, most of the broadcast high-def is really kind of cheating. They are really down at 720i, the lowest high-def possible, so that they can squeeze more channels onto the same channel system. Polycom offers a number of video solutions that do all this, the 6000, 7000, 8000, and 9000 series, as well as the RMX and immersive telepresence solutions. The 6000, 7000, 8000, 9000 vary in what they'll do with additional monitors, with people plus presence or content sharing. They also vary on number of bridged calls. So for instance, you can go with an 8000 or 9000 in a 4-port bridge that allows 4 simultaneous connections to 4 other video conferencing units. They also have a whole line of Infrastructur we'll talk about, the RMX series and the immersive telepresence solutions. The RMX series is essentially a bridge. It is both a audio and a video conference bridge, but it is also a lowest common denominator. It is the product that will take in different types of video or audio and mesh them together. It doesn't care, for instance, whether it's a webcam from Cisco talking to a Polycom high-def unit. It does the conversion for you. They also offer a whole series of touch controls and various other items that are nice and certainly are useful. But the real point of this is that very few of the manufacturers, be it Tandberg, which is now Cisco, of course, or Polycom or others. Polycom is the only one that really offers a wide range of products. They offer from the phone itself all the way through the touch screens and the high-def video cameras. They offer the integration pieces that work with Microsoft Exchange and other products to give you scheduling from Exchange. They also have their own proprietary solutions for things like QoS not being present. So when they talk about provides consistent quality with incredible QoS, I'm sure you're aware that if you're sending a signal out over the internet and then retrieving it from the internet, you don't have any control over that packet and how it's routed by your carrier. Some of the packets that are sent out may go to one location, some may go to another, and then they're reassembled. You invariably will have packet loss. Now, that doesn't matter too much when you're talking about sending an Excel spreadsheet across the internet via some sort of file sharing. It's assembled and it's assembled correctly, and you don't really care whether it takes 1/100th of a second or 1,000th of a second to get that file. But voice and video is extremely sensitive to packet loss. It can cause jitter and flutter and echo. Well, Polycom is able to, with their technology, compensate for packet loss. And while it's showing it at 5% here, it compensates across the board. It increases the clarity, just makes it work better. Polycom is also, just like everybody else, but not in the video market, stepping into something called Real Presence. And Real Presence is essentially a cloud-based version of all of this as well. So for instance, bridging in the future, if you don't want to necessarily spend it for an internal bridge, they will offer the ability to bridge via the cloud so that you can go ahead and take your devices and literally connect them to other people's Polycoms or your own Polycoms in the cloud. Now, going across the top, I just want to point out that every one of those products in the top is not Polycom-based, of course. This particular product is a Polycom conference phone. This particular product in this, of course, we might recognize this. It's from some little company called Apple. This is, of course, an Android tablet. What's interesting about these devices, though, is that Polycom offers a client that attaches to these. And if you have a camera on these, you have an endpoint. In other words, you can use this for your video conferencing and talk to the people that are using the bigger Polycom systems, even the Telepresence systems, and show up on screen at the same time. Again, that's a function of some of the Polycom infrastructure that really is the bridge. It's the piece that lets all the various manufacturers work together. Their Real Presence platform, makes an assumption you have some on-premise equipment in the form of cameras, webcams, Polycom. Then the private cloud, you can do it internally as a private cloud, or you can do it externally as their public cloud. So delivery options for all these things are becoming cloud-based as well as in-house. There's a break-even point where it becomes more effective and cost-effective to have the equipment in-house, just like there is with anything. So Real Presence empowers basically everybody. IM Presence currently works with Microsoft, IBM, Avaya, does work with Cisco Presence as well. Call control, in other words, call control via the voice. So we all know what audio conferencing is. Video conferencing should be just as easy. If there's an easy way to set up a call for voice, there should be an easy way to set up a conference call with video. And the Polycom integrates directly with Microsoft's, of course, voice, IBM, BroadSoft, Siemens, Cisco, Avaya. It also works, they've left off a couple out here with ShoreTel and with Mitel. You should be able to do web conferencing. And we'll do a little bit of conferencing here for a demo in a second with Microsoft Lync. But it works with IBM's, WebEx, Adobe, Citrix, GoTo, Intercall, AT&T. Now, the last one is actually one that, the AT&T one, the WebEx one, you should probably pay attention to as well as the Microsoft one, because AT&T offers a cloud-based video conferencing service for a fee. Well, what this means is you can mix and match. You can have Polycom endpoints talking to other Polycom endpoints via a bridge via AT&T. Video collaboration. Well, Microsoft Lync, IBM, same time, other video providers. This includes Avaya and Cisco's presence-based products as well. Mobility. Well, when we say mobility, in this case, they're talking about what does it work on. Well, it works on Windows Mobile 7. There are a lot of Android devices that are certified on, including all the Samsung products, the Motorola products, some of the newer products from Ericsson and Alcatel, HTC, RIM. Some of these, when they're talking about them, are phones. Some of them are tablets. If you want to use any of the clients for video or otherwise, or presence via Polycom, there is a developers list, and there's a list of what is certified. I will tell you up front that it is, for instance, certified on the Samsung tabs, but I'm currently running it on an Acer. Works just as well. The tablets, basically, if it's an Android 3 or 3.1, it will work on those. Social media, Jive, Chatter, IBM, and when they say others, they're talking about Twitter and, of course, LinkedIn and Facebook. When we're talking about how it integrates with social media, you can do things like have it automatically update your Facebook page as you're doing webinars. They're just full integration across the board. It also works with core networking and security. For instance, HP, Cisco, Avaya, Juniper, Huawei. All those products, all those pieces either have bridges that work with them, or they have network access control and security that allows you to limit and watch your video streams and who sees them. It's just another way of securing your video. And if you're not securing your video, or if you're not doing video, but if you plan on doing video, you do need to think about security and access control for it. Just as 10 years ago, voice over IP was considered safe because there weren't the codecs out there for network sniffers to decode the audio on the fly. Now there are. Same thing is happening with video. It's going to be possible to put a network sniffer on your network somewhere, or somewhere in the data stream, and if you're not careful, it's going to be able to decode that video. And video, if you're holding meetings about new products, you're doing things that you don't want other people to see, you need to start worrying about access control. So the benefits of organizing your platform and staying with the platform, of course, are to ensure business continuity. You know, if you have an option, if you have an office in Germany and one in the United States, you might want to think about getting the same platform in both locations. That's all they're saying here. It's better to try to work with either somebody that works with everybody, or it's better to make sure you have the same in location just for interoperability reasons, as well as cost effectiveness for being able to manage. Now, the Polycom point on this is, of course, their product doesn't care whether you're talking to a Cisco endpoint, or whether you're talking to a Polycom endpoint, or a Microsoft Lync endpoint, or a Cisco webcam. Their product will take everything coming in and connect it. So you can be in a high-def conversation with your subsidiary in Germany. At the same time, you have a C-level employee that's sitting down in Florida with a webcam, and is also being seen on screen, and is also talking just as if they were on another Polycom product. Plus the fact that the Polycom high-def units use almost 50% less bandwidth than any other solution on the market, then you're probably going to find that Polycom's worth taking a look at for your high-def needs, of course. They also are the only one that offer everything: video on demand, real-time video, video recording creation and distribution. And when I say recording creation and distribution, they even have a green screen product that's quite a bit of fun. You can actually do your videos and insert additional backgrounds, or do things just like they do with green screens on professional productions. It also emphasizes the fact that video in collaboration with a click is part of it. In other words, as you'll see in a second, we can go ahead and just, in Lync or in OCS, we can go ahead and grab 3 people, pull them together into an audio, a video, or an IM conference. Or the best part about it, as far as I'm concerned, is that with Outlook or with Lotus Notes and a few other clients, you can go ahead and just schedule a conference as if it were a meeting. So you just go to calendar, schedule your meeting, and off you go. It's going to allow everybody to dial into the same endpoint at the same time. It reserves that video unit, and it keeps everything safe and sane in a calendar-like format that you're used to. I'm not going to go too much into the reasons for video. I think we all know the reasons for video. It's amazing, especially with us being continental and having to talk to other countries all the time, how much being able to see a person's face is, how much it's worth. The fact that you can read their emotions, read what they're saying. Something, if you have two people talking in a room and you're only on an audio conference, if the second person is frowning and making, faces or shaking their head, it's worthwhile to know that as your presentation occurs or as whatever you're talking about is occurring, being able to see them helps. Now, in addition to that, the video that Polycom offers, of course, is not just high-def video. It is high-def voice, and that's important because a lot of the units out there only give you a very small frequency range. So what you're hearing is not full fidelity audio. And it's become necessary to expand that range. So you're actually getting high-def voice and high-def audio as well as high-def video and high-def content. You're also able to do things like share content on Polycom video. So you're able to go ahead and literally share what you're doing on YouTube simultaneously with somebody else, or the spreadsheet shows up on screen and you can share it and move it around. People are able to share everything back and forth, including what they're doing on it. It's a collaboration tool. So the UC Journey starts on the left side, doesn't have to include phones, very often does include PBXs. But if you're just doing it with a PBX, basically what you're doing is probably doing conference calls. Or in its simplest form, UC, or Unified Communications, is talking one-on-one with somebody else. The problem with it, of course, it's proprietary and it's a single vendor, and it's usually dependent on your resources internally only. Going to an IP-based system lets you add other things. There are other pieces that you can do with an IP system. Sort of, in other words, not having it all in one location is an example of collaboration. Having one location with IP phones and having another with IP phones. Past that point, true unified communications and collaboration includes business productivity tools, multimedia applications, a consistent experience. Do you need to learn how to use one tool when you're in one office and another tool when you're in another? Better to have the same tool, obviously. And then business processes, user-initiated, simplicity and effectiveness, business transformation. For example, some of the things that other companies are exploring in their call centers have to do with two-way video. Let's say you were a company that makes home fitness equipment. If you notice what's happening in the home fitness equipment market, the screens on those devices have become larger, and they've started to incorporate things like full color displays that are LCD panels that have the ability to see a television signal while you're working out. Let's take a typical stepper or trainer of any type. Those particular devices could have a webcam enabled in them. So the person gets up and is on it for the first time and wants to learn how to use the functions, and they call into the call center for that company and start asking questions about how to use it or how not to use it. How much better would it be if they could initiate a face-to-face conversation with the agent, and the agent could see what they're talking about and know what they're talking about, even be able to read the screen simultaneously. That's the idea of what business application convergence is coming to. Now, not everybody's going to want to do that. Sometimes I want to talk to the agent and not have them see my face because I'm angry. Sometimes I want to see it one way or the other, at least give them the option. Now, one of the more universal presence products that's out there, of course, is Microsoft OCS or Microsoft Lync. And if you're not familiar with Microsoft Lync is OCS was initially primarily a presence product. It has an IM chat window, started out as a secure internal communication method, and as it's evolved to Microsoft Lync, it actually includes the option of enterprise voice and telephony, audio, video, web conferencing, and then, of course, instant messaging and presence. Polycom integrates directly with it. So with Microsoft and Polycom, it's very easy to have somebody sit, and if you notice this device in the lower right corner, this is the round table. This was a Microsoft product. Polycom purchased it from them, so Polycom is now the supplier for it. Or this particular product, this is a Polycom SIP phone. This, of course, is one of the Polycom workstations that has the web or has the camera built into it. But with Lync, it's all simultaneously integrated, and it offers Outlook calendar access automatically. It offers the ability to just pick up, start a conversation with here, pick up the conversation here, and have the video be seamless. It takes the video here, transforms it into a format that this video signal can read. Also works well from a standpoint of an Android tablet or an iPad. The end-to-end UC solution that Polycom and Microsoft offers includes a full voice solution. So in other words, there is the option here, if you really want to run Microsoft and Microsoft only on the voice side. They are certified to work with the current Polycom CX series phones as well as the Wi-Fi DECT series phones. You may not know it, but Polycom also owns SpectraLink, so all the Wi-Fi phones produced by SpectraLink, including the new ones with barcode scanners, are all Polycom products as well. So on the video side, that includes video solutions that include a full telepresence immersion room, the HDX series, which are semi-traditional telepresence or televideo rooms, and then the Polycom CX series, which are products that integrate directly with Microsoft as well. They also have an Infrastructur series that includes the DMA, the RMX, as well as the recording session. For instance, if you're running a very nice presentation that is your C-level employees talking to everybody about the direction the company is going or about new products, the solution that Polycom offers records that so that it can be played back at any time by other employees that may have missed it, or so it can be sent outside of the company to other people that may need it. And it offers a solution that directly integrates with SharePoint. So it can be offered from a SharePoint portal or internally from a format that is directly integrated with Outlook. So for instance, you may have new employees that come in that have to have training that is required, either OSHA training or internal training. You can record the training and then have it marked that it must be done by a certain time, and the employee has the option of just going out, seeing the training when they have time to see it, pre-recorded in high definition format, and then it will mark the fact that they've taken that training. The workflow integration is interesting too, because what it comes down to is you have a schedule that shows up in Outlook or in the Presence. You have resources in your Exchange side or in your IM Presence side that are actually Microsoft rooms or demo rooms or Polycom rooms. So you can schedule a Polycom video conference call simply by putting it in your Outlook calendar and sending it to the appropriate people. There are third-party pieces as well. There are other pieces that Polycom provides that if you're not using Outlook, you can schedule it just as easily. It is a calendar function, in other words. It lets you schedule the meetings, launch business calls, find people using the Enterprise Directory, completely integrated with Active Directory, of course. Collaborate using the native Lync tool or the Presence tool. You can upload Lync recordings. If you're using OCS or Lync, you may not know this, but you can record not only audio, instant messages, but video. It records them and it saves them. And then you can find and play published video on your SharePoint server. This is just a picture basically of what you see when you schedule a meeting. If you notice, it's just a typical calendar entry, but it includes additional links. Voice information, Polycom CMA desktop. So for instance, you know you're sitting there with a low quality webcam. You're not going to be on high def video. you have different options. You can do it via communicator with no video. You can do it video via low definition. You can do it via high def. You can schedule meeting rooms. You can just do it via audio and add video at any time. You can join with an HDX unit if you have Polycom HDX units automatically. You can also set it, as you see here, record and stream the meeting. The other options are just to stream the meeting or just join the meeting as a participant. It's directly integrated with Microsoft Infrastructur. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm a fan of some of the infrastructure pieces that Microsoft requires, because I'm not. But if you notice, Microsoft does require a lot of infrastructure pieces. Active Directory is present as well as Exchange. But then you have to have edge servers. You have to have mediation servers, monitoring servers, excuse me. Plus, you have to have all the traditional things. You have to have some sort of WAN connections between the locations. These are all products that you may or may not need depending on what level of Microsoft that you implement. These are primarily Microsoft pieces at this point. Some of them are Polycom pieces. But the important point is you can have people via voice. You can have federated companies. You can have people outside the office on video, almost any type, link or otherwise. So Polycom provides direct integration versus gateway approach. It's completely Active Directory integrated, Exchange Outlook integration, direct registration to Lync Server 2010, Lync collaboration experience extended to conference rooms. So conference rooms become part of the presence on your IM presence in Lync. It's got native codec support. So it automatically will do the transformation between the CX series or the Edge series from Polycom, as well as other video products directly to HDX or RMX products from Polycom. It does leverage the Edge server for federated calls and remote connections. When we're talking about the fact that you do have to have some sort of security in thought or thinking about it in the future, you really do need to think about the fact that the federated company, if you're not familiar with what a federated company or federation is basically a trust that's been set up between your company and others that have similar products. It allows instant messaging, video, and some audio between one Microsoft install and another Microsoft install. Federation is essentially extending trust between companies. Polycom also offers a product line called the CX series that is directly integrated and really doesn't require any other products. In other words, if you want to run Microsoft and audio yourself for a small phone system, they have products that work just as well. These particular products also are available. These particular products are USB-based devices. They plug into your computer. They do offer you the option of using your computer as basically a soft phone. So these are microphone and speaker-based products for laptops. You could send this along with somebody and be able to send and receive calls as if you were at your desk. Polycom, of course, is also famous for their Starfish phones. They offer a whole range of audio phones, be it analog or IP, and for almost every manufacturer out there. Their Telepresence products are directly linked to Lync Server 2010 and Active Directory as well. So, for instance, you can set it so that only specific people are allowed to use high-def modes and gobble up bandwidth. Maybe you want C-level employees to be able to schedule conference calls that are high-def, and non-C-level employees to be able to schedule low-def modes. In all their high-def products, all their HDX series, they don't have to run in a high-def mode. They can run in lower-def mode. So if you have less bandwidth available, it works just as well. So an HDX unit, HDX is their video units in a Lync environment. It registers to the Lync server. It has rich presence support. In other words, you have an icon in your presence that's got Skittles. That's typically what they're being called anymore. The Skittles are the little dots that are different colors. Red, of course, for in use or busy, and so on. So the video room also has presence support. You can tell when the video room is being used or not. Active Directory support, who can and can't use a product simply based on permissions in Active Directory. NTLM, TLS, and SRTP support, security, of course. RTV codec support, native calls within Lync 2010. They integrate directly with ICE and Edge server support. Lync online meeting ad hoc collaboration. In other words, when in presence, you can just go ahead and grab people for an ad hoc meeting. And it integrates directly to the Exchange calendar. The video content management solution from Microsoft is the video content management solution from Polycom, essentially. So all these things we're talking about doing, you can capture either with the Polycom solution or with Silverlight or with the Microsoft solution directly out of Lync. You can then use the content management solution, the AMMS, three-tier retention management, to manage those videos. Just like anything else, once you start accumulating videos, hundreds and hundreds of videos, you have to have a way of managing it, cataloging it. That management system directly links to different types of portal services. For instance, Active Directory integration means that you can restrict access to particular videos, but you can also publish them to a SharePoint portal. And these types of rich media deliveries allow you to take that streaming audio or video, not stored in multiple locations. So you're not recording this and then sending it across the internet and using up your bandwidth when it may be 4, 5, 6 gigabytes in size. It is streaming it. It's a method of streaming it without actually sending it across the internet. So if it is secure information or sensitive, you're not actually sending it out there for distribution. You're just streaming it. And the Accordant Lync Manager, Accordant was a separate company. They recently were purchased by Polycom. If you're familiar with Accordant, they have a management solution that lets you take the presentations, split them up, put them together, combine them, put them in different orders. All easy to do, all web-based. Now a Polycom product. The portal services integration directly allows you to take your stored information and put it out on a SharePoint server for distribution. It also does things like optimize video performance. So if you have something that is 1080p or 720p, you can go ahead and send it out, and you can put it out in your SharePoint and have it optimized for people that you know will be coming on low bandwidth connections. With me. Don't need those 3 slides. Well, the summary on this piece of it is that Polycom is the global leader in standards-based unified communications. The fact is that Cisco has their own product as well. Cisco is probably number 2, but Cisco is a little disorganized right now. Cisco purchased Tandberg, and the integration is not truly there yet. So they have some catching up to do. Polycom currently accounts for about 62% of all endpoints in the world. When we talk about endpoints, we're not talking about webcams and other things. We're talking about actual video conferencing endpoints. The real presence platform is the piece that's becoming a cloud-based application, and it's expanding quickly. So it's got 5 functional components right now, and then it's got an ecosystem of partners. And typically the cloud-based suppliers right now are the larger carriers, as well as a few of the other people that are providing web conferencing services. So if you don't have the capital and don't want to spend a CapEx expenditure right now and want to go with more of an operational expense, there are ways to use Polycom products without investing in the hardware, all cloud-based. So Polycom's strategy is 4-tiered. They want to deliver the complete interoperable software platform, not having to using standards and not having to use a particular product. So Polycom to Lync, Polycom to Cisco. They want to expand the partner ecosystem and bring HD collaboration to mobile and social platforms. So they want to be able to take those things you've stored or are doing automatically and directly and send them out to Twitter, send them out to LinkedIn, send them out to Facebook. The service providers that are out there are providing the first high-def cloud. Up until recently, they really were not high-def bridges being offered by companies like AT&T. Now they are high-def. They want to continue to set the standard for software innovations. They have some new products coming out that are interesting competitors, things like smartboards or whiteboards. Allows collaboration directly onto the same screen while you're talking to people at remote locations. Make the right choice. This is just a typical make the right choice slide. Difficult to make the right choice when you don't know what you're doing, so do the research. Now, before we go into any questions, what I'm going to do is show you an example of Lync. If you're not familiar with Lync, this is what we use internally. When we want to do things like schedule a meeting with somebody, I mean, it's as simple as if I want to talk to Diana, I can go ahead and talk to Diana. Now, if I want to add somebody else in, so for instance, I'm going to add another person in, I just grab them and move them over here. So I currently have 3 people in this. I can grab a dozen of them. I can shift click and pull them all in and pull them up to where they need to be and just add them in. The same is true for audio, telephony. If you notice, my voicemail is showing up here. It says 8 voicemail messages. And I can add screen sharing in directly as well. So for instance, I can go to Diana and I can immediately share my main monitor, secondary monitor, whatever presentation I'm working on, and have her accept it and work with it and collaborate with it. So these are all pieces built into it. If I wanted to set up a high-definition audio or a high-definition video bridge, I can go ahead and select 3 or 4 people simultaneously. I can start an instant message, a conference call, a video call. I can share screen with all of them. And the idea behind UC is simply this. Over here I see that Diana is red. She's in a meeting. She's busy. I can also tell whether she's in a call. I can tell whether she's out. Her out of office message will show up on screen as well, so I know where she's at. Currently it says she's in a meeting. Now what's better? I know she's in a meeting. I know she's on the phone. Do I still pick up the phone and leave a voicemail? Probably not. Instead of wasting my time doing a voicemail, I can start an IM conversation and try to get her, and Diana can certainly multitask while she's in the meeting and type a message to her and have her type messages to me. I may get my question answered quickly and easily. No voicemail, no wasted time. If I know that they are yellow or away, am I going to leave them a voicemail as well? Maybe not. Maybe I'm going to leave them an email in that case. Simply leaving them an email means that I can give them the option of responding to it when they get back. Maybe they're on vacation. I can do it directly by pointing to them. I don't have to start another client. If I send an email message, it goes ahead and allows me to send it directly from Outlook. And that's showing up on my other screen, by the way. I can also do things like send a message that says, Lync keeps freezing. If you notice, Pam's out of office message says it keeps freezing on her machine. I can also schedule a meeting directly from here via Outlook. If I schedule a meeting, I have the ability to schedule a conference bridge or a video bridge. So I have the ability to do all those things simultaneously. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm going to go back here and set this up. So this is basically where we're at. I haven't heard any questions which always concerns me. Either I've lost all of you, though I see that you're attending still, or there weren't any questions and I covered everything, which doesn't seem likely. We do have time for some questions if you have any. If you need specific questions, go ahead and email me directly or go out to YouTube or Twitter and talk to us. Diana, of course, will accumulate additional questions, and we can, if you would like, send out this presentation to everybody involved. So if there are any questions, now's the time.